How you doing? My name is Rich Ledbeater. I'm going to be doing a monologue from the play and movie Goodfellas. It's an Italian-based mafia movie. It's very popular. It's more popularly known as the movie just because of how popular it was. It was a play at times, though. I'm pretty sure it did make Broadway. I'm not exactly sure on where and when, but I know at one time it was a play. So, yeah, I'm going to be doing a scene from Henry Hill. It's at the beginning of the movie, and it's a quick description. Tried to be dressed to the part here. The black shirt, black hair, and dress pants is the best I could think of, or the best I had to fit the gangster look. So, here we go. As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster. To me, being a gangster was better than being the President of the United States. Even before I first wandered into the cab stand for an after-school job, I knew I wanted to be part of them. It was there. I knew that I belonged. To me, it meant being a somebody in the neighborhood that was full of nobodies. They weren't like anybody else. I mean, they did whatever they wanted. They double parked in front of a hydrant, and nobody ever gave them a ticket. In the summer, when they played cards all night, nobody ever called the cops. Tootie Cicero, Tootie. Tootie ran the cab stand in La Bella Vista Pizzeria and a few other places for his brother Paul, who was the boss over everybody in the neighborhood. Paulie might have moved slow, but it was only because he didn't have to move for anybody. At first, my parents loved that I found a job across the street. My father, who was Irish, was sent to work at the age of 11, and he liked that I got myself my first job. He always said, American kids are spoiled lazy. And my mother, she was happy after she found out the Varios came from the same part of Sicily as she did. To my mother, it was the answer to all her prayers. I was the luckiest kid in the world. I could go anywhere. I could do anything. I knew everybody, and everybody knew me. But it wasn't for too long before my parents changed their minds. For them, the cab stand was supposed to be a part-time job, with school as number one. For me, it was everything. I loved it. I did it all the time. People like my father could never understand. But I was a part of something. I belonged. I was treated like a grown-up. Every day I was learning to school. My father was always pissed off. He was pissed that he had to work so hard for all his money. He was pissed that I made so much money, that I made more than him. He said they were bums. He said that I was a bum. He said I was going to get in trouble. I used to say I was only running errands after school, but he knew better. He knew that what went on in the cab stand, and every once in a while, usually after he got his load on, I used to take a beating. But by then, I didn't care. No matter how many beatings I took, I wouldn't listen to what he said. I don't think I even heard. The way he saw it, the way I saw it, everybody has to take a beating sometime. That was it. No more letters from truant offers. No more letters from school. In fact, no more letters from anybody. How could I go back to school after that pledge of allegiance to the flag and sit through the government bullshit? Hundreds of guys depended on Paulie, and he got a piece of everything they made. It was like a tribute, just like in the old country, except they were doing it in America. All they got from Paulie was protection. From other guys, they were looking to rip them off. That's about it. That's what the FBI could never understand. It was that what Paulie and the organization does is offer protection for people who can't go to the cops. They're like police department for wise guys. Paulie looked at me differently. They knew I was with somebody. I didn't have to wait in line at the bakery on Sunday morning for fresh bread. The owner knew who I was, and he'd come around the counter. No matter how many people were waiting, I was taken care of first. Our neighbors didn't park in our driveway anymore, even though we didn't have a car. At 13, I was making more money than most grown-ups in the neighborhood. I had more money than I could spend. I had it all. One day, some of the kids from the neighborhood carried my mother's groceries all the way home for her. It was out of respect, you know? We were wise guys. When people talked about us, they said we was good fellas. They said, you know, you're going to like this guy. He's a good fella. You know? Wise guys. And that's just the way it was.